The UFL season and, well, our trip is officially over, but the fun doesn't end as we got plenty more to talk as the off-season officially commences and another football season is catching our attention. This is episode 108 of the UFL podcast, and it starts right now.
1, 2, 3.
To the UFL podcast. I am Zach Kyleman hosting this post-championship episode of the show. And man, you know, the season's over. The trip of a lifetime, the greatest adventure we've ever had is officially concluded, but does not mean that the party stops. It's the off season. There's plenty of things on the horizon that we're going to be talking about in the coming months. And we have some more football to talk about. The football doesn't stop, people. It goes all year round. And football has no offseason, according to UFL t-shirt, but that's correct. And we're going to talk about that today. We got plenty on the docket, and I got plenty to discuss with my partner on the opposite side of me and my road trip buddy, the ref himself. How are you doing now that we are back to reality, as I call it, the norm rather than our fun excursion?
I hate it. I hate it so much. If I could just not go back to real world life, it would be amazing. But you know what? You got to do what you got to do. We're all in the same position. I will say this, you know, I think we picked the better route to record because the route we took home, boy, there was not a whole lot to look at or stop at or anything. We did see the only thing that may have been worth any value on that ride back was a moped on a 75 mile an hour road, not going 75 miles an hour, by the way, in pitch black on a road with no lights. He sure is lucky it was us that, well, didn't run into him rather, because I got a feeling those are the roads where people might be, you know, tipping one back and doing whatever they need to do. But
those Texas side roads are a different beast at night. And honestly, if there was any chance we had done a mini follow-up on the way back, we would have just talked endlessly about, oh boy, we are just on an excursion through nowhere.
Right, look at that field, Zach. That's a good field.
Hey, look at that abandoned Arkansas town. Oh, is that a new one? Wait, that's another one? Are we in the same city? No, this is 3 cities. Okay, we're just still, this is just Arkansas. Okay, that's fine. Little Rock was cool, though. We might stop there someday. But everywhere else was, boy, that was fun. It's like my coworkers who've been from Arkansas told me Arkansas is an interesting place. And I'm just going to leave it at that.
Yep. And it was a shame. We went to the Come and Go, and they didn't even have T-shirts.
We saw
stupid Maverick
gliders. It's coming and it's going real quick. It's a shame.
Yeah, that's a good point. Oh, you know, the other thing that was interesting, the damn Chinese restaurant that was made out of a Rally's, but was somehow in better condition than any other Rally's building I've ever seen. Like they had the chrome still on the top. Like most Rally's you see, it looks like that gum has been on the wall for 30 years. This place was like immaculate. It just so happened to be a Chinese food restaurant.
Only in Arkansas.
Only in
Arkansas. Good fishing in here, though. Yeah, Arkansas is fun. I don't know. Beyond that, you know, we made it back okay. We had ATU on Monday. Kind of sat down and kind of processed the whole thing, so to speak, including the White Castle that we had on the way back too. And you know, I haven't gotten hit as hard as I think some of my other Panthers brethren about the game, but you know, it still hurts that we just had no answer. There was absolutely no answer, and the defenders were kind of the team of destiny as I was hoping Michigan would be. Mm-hmm. You know, or as I think some other colleagues have said in our space, you know, the underdog story that just found a way. And, you know, storybook ending, I guess. You can't write a different ending when you got a good story behind you already. So I just take my lumps and I hope next year we can reload. It's the best way I can put it.
Yeah, I have a different take on it, Zach. I grew up beaten, broken down, battered, sludged through the snow, thrown in some gravel, punched in the face, kicked in the knees, just laughed at, spit at, everything bad all at once.
You've been abused. You're damaged.
Know why? You know why? Because I lived in Michigan. That damn place is cursed. The Michigan curse came out again, and it's just like this little rain cloud, and it follows you around. It's like, oh, you got a football team, do you? Be a shame. If you got blown out in the championship, yeah, no, Detroit, nothing for you. No fun for you, Detroit. Little rain on your parade. They just couldn't do anything. And yeah, maybe I should have seen it coming a little bit. Everybody likes a good underdog story. I talk about it. It's so easy hindsight looking back. From day one, the defenders came in and kind of proved everybody wrong. They beat the Stallions, the back-to-back-to-back champions to start out the season. And from then on, they seem to not earn everybody's respect. Well, I think they got it now. I was maybe a week late to the process here, but you know what? They just decimated the Panthers. And honestly, I don't think there's anything the Panthers could have done different, because that damn Michigan curse, that flipping, low down, dirty, ugly, stinky, sneezy Michigan curse came and just did what it did best and ruined all of our days, except for those Defenders fans, which there was many in the crowd, and they were having fun. And me just watching that, it helped me not feel as bad at the game. When I didn't get a chance to meet him, unfortunately, at the game, but when I saw the Lemon guy, we saw him. They were kind of like kitty corner to where we were sitting. But when we saw that whole group celebrating, the guys that we always see in the beer snake section celebrating, I said, well, it's kind of hard to be mad at that. So sign them up. Congratulations. I mean, the Defenders definitely earned it. We had over 50 collective points at halftime. And although Michigan could have came back, and there was even, I'm not even that guy, I'm not even, whatever, but they did still have a chance in the fourth quarter until they didn't anymore.
Definitely made them sweat with the 4th and 12 conversions, but just no stops. I mean, that's the thing. DC got an interception. They got a punt out of the deal as well, and were able to just kind of get one or two stops and kind of swing things the right way to where momentum was never on Michigan's side. And, a banged up defense like that can't get pressure, you're going to get kind of battered and bruised on all angles. And that's just kind of what happened. And Jordan Ta'amu, of course, having his best performance he's ever had. By far the best performance we have ever seen from him anyway. And, I think it just kind of was that asterisk on saying, like what he mentioned post-game, I just was God was wanting me to go for different hardware, was essentially what he was trying to say. And he got the MVP nod. He got a trophy. He's going to get hopefully a ring, because I understand the 24 Stallions did not get rings. So I'm hoping one of these teams does, because they should. But at least they got that nod with them that they could take back. Great win whatsoever. I'll tell you what else, though. Great tweet I had seen, and I'm lost on who put it out now, but someone put, Detroit residents must be pissed at the DMV this year and just thinking the last 365. We're not talking just this game. Let's not forget. We're talking the semifinals right after the wild card. Detroit looking like the prodigal son can't get it done against the Washington Commanders. I was about to say the other name, but you know what I mean. It just kind of continues that trend.
Oh, I know what you mean, Zachy boy. I know all too well. It's just,
it's like when I say San Diego Chargers still. I'm just used to one name. I just have to catch myself when I'm about to say the other one a little more.
You know what? They got a new name next year, the Deadskins, because they're not going to. We're done with them. We're hunting them down. You think you're going to come and play a game this season? I don't think so. Goff, he's got more than one skill. I'll tell you that much. And we won't elaborate on what that other skill is, but it's deadly.
Yeah. You think? Fun fact with this one, and it was already mentioned that we're talking that this game was the highest scoring in modern spring football history. The one that still stands out that is really the one that I think most people think about. Oh wait, actually I take that back. I thought that there was more points to this one. I was going to reference the greatest game nobody ever saw, but the reason why is I thought it was higher scoring. The yards are insane, but the comeback was different, and Jim Kelly and Steve Young were going nuts over that. I'm gonna have to double check if this maybe is the most modern of it.
I think it might be. Well, how many points were in that AF1 game earlier this year that the team threw up 100 burger?
Well, I see now with that's a little different because I look at it as it's 50 yards.
It's different, Zach. It's different. It's different. Is that what you're telling me? Oh, it's almost like the last team to win a championship in the city of Detroit was the Michigan Panthers in 1983. I rest my case.
Not football. It's oh, you're cracking me up.
Case rested. Man, it only took, I don't know how many weeks that argument's been going on because it's been actually years because he's been in my comments in YouTube for saying that years ago. Case rested. I adjourn. The ref judge. Have you?
Nice.
Anyway, what do we want to talk about? What do we want to talk about, Zachy boy? Actually, one other thing. If you guys haven't watched Summer Stock yet, it's 100% worth it. There's really actually a very small segment where we talk about our 100% inaccurate picks. But that's one little tiny segment of the whole journey. And I don't know if you noticed this, Zach. And not that it's going to work or will work, or maybe, I don't know, hopefully, please will it work, YouTube algorithm? That would be sweet. I changed the name of the video to just, we drove 1,000 miles, over 1,000 miles to the UFL Championship. Maybe that'll interest somebody outside the football world of checking it out. But if you didn't watch it because you're like, the game's over, you should still watch it. It's a 3-hour epic journey. There's humorous segments in there for that we didn't plan on. I'll just leave it at that. I have the paper. I still haven't mailed this crap out, Zach. It's sitting right here, reminding me that I need to do it, but we will get there. And if you want to find out what that pile of crap that I need to mail out is, tune in to Summer Stock 4, the road to the UFL Championship. It's, Route 66 is there. There's Onion Burgers. There's White Castles. There's gas station competitors, the Arch, a hotel review.
Got lots.
More things than that. I don't even remember a soda review. We snuck in a soda review or two in that bad boy. Actually, a beer review. We got all sorts of things in there. So make sure you check it out. And if you want to get real crazy, and I know you do, you're already thinking about it. You're like, I don't even know what he's going to say, but I'm feeling crazy. You're going to go down below. There's a link to a shirt, a Summer Stock shirt. And once they actually deliver Zach and mine's, I'll show you what it looks like. But if you click on it, if you click the link, you'll see it. You'll say, wow, that's a beautiful shirt. I need that on my body. Me too. So soon we'll have them, hopefully. I don't know. But when we do, we'll share you what it looks like in shirt form. But if you click on the link, you'll see what it looks like in link form. And then you can pay with it, buy it, and wear it. And you could, watch it first because I don't know how long it's going to take. But you could wear it when you watch it again. You should watch it like 3 or 4 times.
You should.
It's over 3 hours long.
Yeah, it's a big one. I'm actually heavily considering making, just because we had to kind of get it out, I'm debating on doing either a director's extended cut to add more B-roll, or we do it episodic day by day, and we do it extended per the days. So if you feel like you want that, let us know, because there's stuff that was left on the cutting floor because we had to kind of get it out. But we have, I have tons of clips that are sitting and could be used and that we could filter in. So let us know. We might just do it ourselves. So just keep that in mind. We may do like director's cut editions of this or something like that, and maybe tune it up a little. But we appreciate the feedback so far. It's been good response. People have really been enjoying this, and it brings a smile to my face, man. Because like we took a gamble with this project. We weren't sure if we were going to pull this off well, and
we almost didn't.
Yeah, it did a great job. We almost
it didn't work. There was a moment there, Zach, when you went. I was like,
imagine if that cop car It was actually another pullover.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Well, I'm telling you, when I sent you off to go to the pizza place, there was half of my brain. I was like, this might not work. I don't know what we're going to do. I don't know what we're going to fucking do.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
It worked. It worked. And you know what? I'm glad we said, who knows? It might go out at midnight. It ended up just that. It just happened. It finally, it's not like I planned it. I was like, just go live when it goes live. And it happened at midnight. I was like, oh my God, it's almost like we planned it a little bit, but I'm like sweating and dying over there. I'm like, it worked, guys. Oh, geez. I'll be honest, there was even a moment where I thought the end got like clipped off and I didn't want to say anything, but I went back and checked and it worked. I'm like, whew, all right, wow, another thing that's there. Thank God. All right.
Oh, that was gold. I wish I would have caught that on camera, actually, but maybe not. I don't know. There were things said to certain computers and
oh yeah, all sorts
softwares.
of
things. Fun stuff, but it got done. We'll talk though. If you feel like you want an extended cut, because again, there's some cool things we left off. Mm-hmm. So let us know in the comments. Also, by the way, subscribe to this channel if you're new. Welcome aboard. We have plenty for you to check out or to catch up on. And click the bell below. Builds morale, not only for you, but for us too. Got a whole crew of PFN guys you're helping support as well with that. So please welcome along for the ride if you're joining us just after the season, or maybe if you're curious about the UFL after the season's been done. Well, you just come on and in stride. Any other thoughts on the game? I mean, look, I've kind of dug into this a little bit more, and it was just your classic ass whooping. It's simple as that. I mean, just no defense, and I know that a few of my colleagues, I agree that yes, there was, Michigan did find some ways to score, but again, just not enough. DC had a lot better of a pass rush. They definitely made things more flustered for Michigan. On the other side, just couldn't figure things out and couldn't get a stop to slow down Teamu or anyone of the like. Six long pass plays of 25 plus or more, and there's probably a few I didn't even account for, but 6 receivers of 25 plus or more is nuts for any football game. You're not going to stop many teams that way. That's it.
No. And, at least we it's funny. Everybody before the game, they said, I just hope it's not a shutout. Well, we didn't get a shutout. We at least didn't get that much. We did get a little bit of a spanking, but we didn't get a shutout. There was still excitement late in the game. There was still a decent amount of people late in the game, considering the fact of what the score was. And to those people, sign you up. Mm-hmm. Sign you up for sticking around either for your team or for the game, the love of football, whatever it may be. But I did put this out on X the other day, and I don't think it is. Is it too early to speculate that my Houston Roughnecks, my rowdy Houston Roughnecks, are going to go 12-0 next year? I don't think it is. I think it's the real question is if it's even speculation. 12-0, baby.
It still is, but you're going to do your thing. I can't stop you. You've always done whatever you want. So
just like my team's going to do next year when we go 12-0. Rough them up, baby. Drill, baby, drill. All day and night.
Drill, baby, drill. Nah, good mess. All right. Well, it is off season now, which means that we get to analyze other various things about the league, including players that are going to get their nod and their chance to go up to the NFL and make their mark and see if they can stick. And so far, within the short turnaround we've had, we are currently sitting at 7 and potentially 8. We'll get to that in a moment, that have been signed on to NFL contracts and are moving up, at least getting into the training camp season with those teams. And we'll have our thoughts for a few of them, but we'll list off the ones as follows. So the 7 that we for sure know where they're going, that's where I'll kind of label this, are Deshaun Corbin, Harrison Mavis, the thicker kicker, as you know. Corbin, by the way, leading rusher in the league this year. He went to Atlanta. Mavis went to the Jets. Mario Goodrich of the Stallions, he's over and head to Denver to play for the Broncos, at least in training camp, and hopefully for a longer time. Tight end Seth Green signed from the Arlington Renegades. He's going to the New Orleans Saints. Barry Wesley from the Stallions, he's heading over to the Saints as well. So you got a double one right now. That might not be the last, of course. Texans are signing Damon Arnett from the Houston Roughnecks. And that's been a story in itself. So he's been fighting his way back. He's getting another shot back in the NFL. he was already getting looks. Good for the ref to see one of his own fellow guys making it. And then Perrion Winfrey, I don't know why that was so hard to say. I'm sorry if you're listening, Perrion. But he, from the Stallions, he's headed to the Dallas Cowboys to go and play at Jerry World right now. And the final one, so the league listed off Sal Cannella on the PR list, saying that it was termination signed with NFL contract. So Cannella is, by what we can tell from their designation, signed. There's been no news that I can find or that the ref can find yet, or that James has reported on, our own James Larson, which team he's with. There's some people speculating he went back to the Packers. We're not sure. But according to at least how we understand the PR list is, he's also supposedly on a team. He would be the 8th member of the current roster of players that's made that jump with a contract. Still haven't seen it also, by the way, on the NFL's contract list on their signings and waiver tab. So once that goes through, we'll know officially where he went as well. But the UFL's claiming he is already heading his way to the NFL at least.
Yep. So, and honestly, probably by the time that this episode drops, that news will come out. But hey, he's signed somewhere. I do like to see the Roughnecks getting a signing right off the bat. I do like to see him go with the Texans. One thing I'll call out here, the Cowboys, again, with their yearly early pickup from spring football. We've seen it time and time again with the USFL and then the UFL. Usually they're the first team to pick one up, so they're slacking a little bit this year, but they're still amongst the early birds getting their pick of the litter here. And this is really just the beginning of what we're probably going to see a good rapid fire of over the next couple weeks, is guys getting an opportunity as we head closer, and this sounds crazy, to the preseason, Zach. It's sounds like it's a crazy thought, but it's actually just really right around the corner. Yeah. These teams are kind of gearing up, getting ready for that, even already to a certain extent. And so these players are kind of getting their shot right now. And so I think we're going to just see more and more of these guys as we head towards this. But I love to see these guys get the shot. Thicker kicker in the NFL, sign him up. I'm actually surprised, though, that Rodrigo wasn't the first one to go. Blankenship down in St. Louis. I kind of expected him to be the first kicker picked up, but I ain't mad at Harrison over there. Sign him up.
And I think some of it we'll keep in mind, there's a lot of aspects in signing too. It's also many of the things in the NFL is kind of who sometimes. Yep. And also keep in mind, while Mavis and Rodrigo were really close, I'm not 100% on if it's a leg strength thing too, because remember Rodrigo, one of the marks on him coming out from the NFL and coming into this, and what he's still looking for is better leg strength. So, I'm not sure about 100% on Mavis, but maybe that was also another factor too, because you notice in the NFL these past few years, the distances have grown astronomically on a more regular basis of plus 50 and even plus 60 kicks. So they're so important to be able to hit from those high 50, low 60 ranges now, that maybe that's another thing. But I think personally, just as a guy who has a kicker that is known not as much a distance guy in Cairo Santos on the Bears, I think he's going to get a look. I do believe that. We usually see about 2, sometimes 3 kickers in these leagues get picked up in off season. Doesn't mean they'll stick, but they'll at least get looks. So don't count out Rodrigo just yet. It's still really early. So like by the end of June, I mean, I'm almost predicting we'll be pushing like 30 or so signings if I had to take it, maybe even more. I know last year's cycle, if I remember reading from Mike Mitchell saying 80 was the total. So we're hopefully in for some pretty significant numbers. So we're just beginning this whole game of off-season signing and flipping around rosters and whatnot, because it's just how it is. Teams got to get ready in the NFL. You want the best depth you can possibly get too. So that's what we're looking for primarily. But special teams guys will be a premium. We've been seeing that every year. We're looking for that next guy that's going to make that jump.
Absolutely. So this is just the beginning. I'm sure as we have more episodes, this list is going to grow and grow. The names will say, oh my God, what are these teams going to do without these guys? But then also around the corner, Zach, is that collegiate draft happening in July.
Yes.
So as the league is losing players to the NFL, they're going to start, potentially picking up the next prospects, either for next year or potentially years beyond that, depending on, the collegiate draft's a little bit different than your normal everyday draft. Your number one pick, he might not end up in the league, or he might, right? And that's kind of the beauty. It's an extra little gamble on this. You can shoot real high, or you can, there's a lot of different strategies to the collegiate draft and the UFL. So something to look forward to.
Correct me if I'm wrong. We also should be seeing this offseason some possible fascinating changes in free agency with signed and basically restricted, unrestricted free agents could play a massive factor with these GMs, even with the way the contracts are. Last year's signings versus 2 year ago signings, apparently we're still getting a few more of the details hammered out, but apparently that could be playing a big role into changes that some of these rosters might take as well, along with new coaching staffs that we're still going to be waiting for. And we probably won't see that until later in the summer anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So a lot of things to look forward to in this UFL offseason. The one thing that seems to be consistent is all the executives say, hey, if you're worried about a season 3, you shouldn't be. We're here. No. We're here for the long haul. We're ready to play. We're ready to go. And even as we talked about before, Venue, the sports app, that may be gone, but Fox is working on something new. They're going to have something ready, it sounds like, for NFL season.
Correct.
Which, if you all know, the NFL season, I guess it's technically after the UFL season, but in the instance of where we are now, it's before the next UFL season, which means we're going to have that app ready for the UFL. I can only hope, I can only pray, I can only say, please, 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 please make my wishes come true, is that this app has all the UFL games on it. But I wouldn't be surprised if the ESPN games are not on this app, at least for live, and maybe not on demand until the season's over or wherever. Who knows?
That's something I found interesting with this league. So yes, it is owned primarily by Fox, and I know Disney has some interest in it from what we can tell. But the rights of the league I've always been curious about, because yes, they do keep them separate for the network. But it's like at some point, sports leagues try and keep and get those rights more in house and kind of get them on their own. I mean, even I think about it this way: so Fox owns the Big Ten Network, and if you watch the Big Ten Network, every time you watch it, there are games from any network on it. We're talking past ESPN games, NBC games, and CBS games from just last year. Like those logos are on there, and sure, it's not Fox in name, but Fox owns the 60, like 2/3 of the network. So you would think that at some point you would have it where, if Fox owns 50, like I'm kind of surprised they can't get those. I mean, it has to be a deal, but I'm kind of shocked myself they can't get their own rights in house, because to me, if I was a fan of this league and if I was trying to say, enhance my app that I own or that I'm helping run, wouldn't it be wise to try and get as much media in one place if you're wanting to watch, or maybe have something to get someone caught up on? I mean, I think that's a discussion that hasn't really been talked about much, but we've talked about how United by Football doesn't exist anymore unless you have to dig for it. It's on Tubi where it used to be. But that's what I'm saying. Even those NBC games, I think those are kind of
they're gone,
vanished into the ether. Those are gone. Those are lost media. Can't you get your own rights back? I worry about that stuff because we care about it. I know it's not as big, but having that fractured media, and you should have a copyright. They do have copyrights on this. We watch these games. You can't get it in house. I just think there's something I don't know enough, but I like to know about why they can't do that.
Yeah. I mean, this is my hope for this Fox Sports app, is that somehow it brings back United by Football. You know what? They want X amount of hours, Zachy boy. Well, you know what? That gives them at least, 10 hours extra, right?
Yeah.
Those 10 episodes, an hour each, something like that. Get those NBC games. Put all the USFL games on there, because right now there's not even – the USFL games actually aren't streaming anywhere.
That I can tell. I mean, you can find
unless you copied them like a madman like me, other than those NBC games, which please, and if somebody, for the love of God, has those United by Football games, hit me up. Hit me up. I want them because I'm a hoarder. I'm a digital hoarder.
Shoot,
baby.
if you know where the link is, comment below, because like we'd love to find a way to preserve. Because I do find it interesting, like the USFL going under, like some of that stuff does get lost and just vanishes, you know. And I don't want that. You don't want that to be gone, you know. I mean, shoot, like I know I was talking about trying to look up scores, which by the way, I do believe now after looking through the USFL scores that I do think that championship game, it looks like, was the highest scoring spring football game of all time, because the last one that I can check was a 52-34 affair that Michigan was involved with back in 1983, from what I can tell, based on
Did they win or lose that one?
They did win that one, by the way. But
who'd they beat? I'm curious.
I have to cycle.
Oh, never mind.
Back.
Doesn't matter.
Oh, don't worry. I'll get it. I'll get it. I'm pretty sure it was Houston, actually, but I'm going to.
Oh, why'd I ask?
I now need to double check just so I can get a good laugh in at it. But yeah, it looks like that is. But you know, I think about like the greatest game nobody ever saw, like which is, again, I mentioned the Steve Young, Jim Kelly game, where it's a 20-point comeback and the Gamblers beat the LA Express. Mm-hmm. That game broadcast does not exist. They did not air it anywhere. It's vanished. It's gone. Unless you were there, you're never going to see that game. And that's a football history loss. And I know it's not NFL history. You know, we know the Hall of Fame, it's a NFL first, and it kind of cliff notes some other things, but that's still football history right there of, like, you know, pro football Hall of Famers that we will never see anywhere. Mm-hmm. It's not possible. So that's what I worry about. You know,
well, that's like the Mega Bowl. All the Mega Bowl, the Spring League in general, it's just gone. Mm-hmm. It doesn't exist. There's some highlight videos. That's the closest you'll ever get to finding it. It's sad, Zach. It's sad. I don't like it.
Yeah. And it's a shame. It's a shame. And I'm glad that there's projects like the USFL project, or like even like in Arena, there's Arena Football TV. They try and they get clips, they get old recordings from people, and they put it on their website on YouTube, and they archive. And that's really cool, because that stuff wouldn't be possible without super fans. So, you know, I'm glad. And I will have to find, speaking of archive, I will have to find this, because yes, the highest scoring USFL game, and what I believe is the highest scoring spring football game of all time, was Monday, March 26, 1984. Michigan beats Houston in Houston 52-34 at the Astrodome. So, yes, from what I can tell, we can now put that to bed. This past weekend's championship was the highest scoring spring football game in history. No modern history tag on that, in history. So, you know, pretty cool stuff.
You know what that tells me, Zach? Dude, this ref's law rivalry goes way back than I ever imagined.
It goes a while back.
I was just a little tad ref, little wee ref, 1-year-old ref, like, Mama, what is happening on TV? And she's like, don't look, your team's getting destroyed. I didn't even live in Michigan at the time. No. And my mom sounds like a trucker. Not in real life, but when I just did. Anyway,
yeah, I don't know. I don't know if she sounds like that.
Come here, baby ref. Stop watching that game.
He proceeded to watch many a football game later in his life. Yeah. I'm going to do what I want, Mama.
Yep.
That was my interpretation. All right.
Probably close.
Maybe. I don't know.
It's probably a little bit more swearing in there, but yeah. No, anyway.
One final thing we did get from this past weekend. I don't like talking ratings as much because, like we said, it's kind of, you know, if the season happens, we go on the ride and we hope it improves, and we do need to bring it up. But yeah, it did bring up some eyebrows with the championship ratings and what happened. So ABC's been up all year. They've been pretty much the leader in the broadcasting section of getting these games high ratings, as by everything else is how it's been for this season. And well, they did sink to really its lowest since these championship games have been happening in 2022. So the championship for this year hit just below 1,983,000 on ABC, down from last year's just under 1.6 million, which by comparison, if you compare both the leagues that combined into the UFL, last year's was the high mark. This year was the absolute low mark. So not a great thing to read about. whatsoever. They did get kind of a breakdown of the markets, and New Orleans and Birmingham led. Tulsa was up there as well. And a few of the other USFL ones were Memphis and Michigan as well for local markets. But yeah, it did compete with some good competition on that day. So I'll mention this too. MLB was on at the time on Fox. Stanley Cup was also on at the time as well. So there were overlaps in those games. Remember, it was also a blowout in the going where it was a high score, kind of not looking great for Michigan in the first half. And then by the third quarter, it was already getting into high 40s, low 50s when we were talking the end of the game. So yeah, not many things going its way, so to speak, but but I also say, quote, that the exec said the ratings don't matter for this game because they've also been quoted as mentioning that they weren't concerned with the drop. So where do we go from here, Stefan? I'm curious.
I mean, you just keep moving forward. I mean, if they say they're happy with the numbers, then I'm happy with the numbers. In all reality, I mean, you're still getting close to 1 million in the modern age of TV, which, yeah, if you're a bigger sport like the NBA, you're going to hit 1 million easy, right? But I look at, you know, they're not the NBA, they're not the NHL, they're not all of these other leagues, but they did hit over 1 million. They averaged under 1 million. So
yeah, it did peak over 1 million. So yes, thank you for mentioning that. Can't go wrong.
To me, okay, that's great. Now, if you go into next year though, and it hits like 600, okay, all right, and then maybe the next year it's 400, and then okay, then the downward trajectory is maybe a little bit more concerning. But you know, to me, last year's was the highest of all highs. Why? It was the two leagues merging together. People wanted to see what the culmination of that looked like. And this is really one of the first years in spring football where, it's funny enough, in the last 5, 6, 7 years, we haven't had a new league. It's the same league returning. We had that with the USFL, but even with the USFL, we had the XFL as a new league. And so every year there's this high interest in the new spring football league, and that's kind of sustained it over as, you know, this. Now, this is the first time we're seeing one league alone, second year. To me, peak over 1 million, stay average near 1 million, I'd be happy with that too. Again, if it was at 300,000, 400,000, I might look at that and be a little bit concerned. Right, that's where I'd say, "Oh my God! If we lost 1 million, like if we went 600,000 and lost 1 million average year over year, that's where I'm at as Fox. Like, oh my God, what? How do we save that ship?" But this, to me, this is, I mean, par for the course. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if next year's averages around this, or maybe even a little bit less. But it's really all about, okay, is it going down, and then it's a little bit of the competition too. They got lucky; they didn't have to go against the NBA. But Stanley Cup, I mean, there was a lot of interest in that, which I'm glad to say that we kept the Americans away from that Stanley Cup. Thank you. You're never getting it again. Na boo boo. Eat it, Canada. Take that one. If you ever want to see the Stanley Cup again, you're going to have to pay a tariff on it. How you like that?
As the old adage goes, America still has won a Grey Cup before Canada has won a Stanley Cup. Fun fact you could take home with you until that changes, if it ever does. But what you're referring to, and I think this is what we talk about with, like, I hear this a lot with like TV and like, if you ever read anything about like cable news numbers as well, I know this is not exact 1-to-1, but hang with me there. They talk about a floor. What's the floor? You know, the low. And, you know, we even talked about this year, you know, it was last year kind of the floor, and then we start going up, moving the ceiling, or we're going to see the ratings dip again, and we're going to be looking for the floor again. And I think that's what we're hopefully wanting to say, is that this year's the floor, because you don't want the floor to keep lowering. You want at some point to find a baseline, grow your baseline up. Last year, you had some momentum from merging two leagues together, and you kind of rode that for a season. And then as we saw, personally, we felt mistakes were made across the board of our shows that they could have done better getting this season ready. And so now we're seeing a new floor. And I wonder what the floor is if it's not this. I hope it's this. That's the thing. You know, the 600-ish K, you know, with the about 1 million with a championship and like around $1 million per playoff game, which actually that's the bigger surprise to me is, yes, it was a blowout in the third quarter, but the highest rated playoff game was actually the USFL conference championship. It was like, that was the highest rated. Second rated then went to the playoffs and then the Fox game, which you don't want to see that. You want the championship to be your premier ratings getter that you can sell. And then the playoffs are kind of that second gem. And then you sell across the playoffs or across the regular season. So definitely some work to be done, without a doubt. And a lot of talk. I know it's piling on a bunch of, we say this a lot, definitely some work, but got to start somewhere. We've talked solutions on ATU. I still think, and I believe you're on this bandwagon. Either you pick a site to start with during the summer or like fall and promote the hell out of it like an ELF, or you play at the highest seed and you just work your ass off to make sure every venue is available for the championship date. Those are your two options, really.
Yeah.
And I think the easier one's the neutral site, Canton, Ohio, but they got to be able to want to make that trigger pull. That's their call. Do they want to do that? We're going to find out pretty soon, but this is part of the off season, a lot of stuff going on, because people want to see upward movement soon. And the league, I think, is trying to say that they're okay with where they're at now, but I think we all know they would approve if they could start seeing some gains again. Be nice. So
yeah.
But yeah.
Well, just because the UFL season's over doesn't mean that the football season's over. No. As the UFL will remind us when the NFL season ends. And you know more about this than anybody I know. I won't say that you know more about this than anybody, but you definitely know more about this than anybody I know. And so throughout, I'd say probably starting, whenever we started this show, every time we did like a summer stock or maybe a spring stock, maybe both, we always end up watching some type of arena football.
Yeah.
Last year we had AFL. This year we have AF1. And I mean, the timing actually couldn't be more perfect for anybody out there that's kind of has that itch. You want some spring football, alternative football, whatever it may be. Now that the UFL Championship's over, we're going right into the AF1 playoffs. And then the championship, or I don't know, Zach, you're going to have to explain this whole crown thing to me. We're going to go into the details. But we also have like a fun little tie-in as well, Zachy boy. You had the opportunity to sit down with somebody that plays in the AF1 that also played in the USFL as well, a champion, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Break it down, Zachy boy. What do we got?
Yes, I do. And not only that, I would say one of the leading MVP candidates now in AF1, as I had the pleasure to sit down with former Stallions quarterback and now Southwest Kansas Storm quarterback, Jalen Morton. So we're going to jump in. Let's have a little chat with him, and then we'll get on the other side and talk a bit about the AF1 playoffs coming up this weekend and the fight for the 2025 Arena Crown. Well, it has been a hot minute since we have had a guest on the UFL podcast for our player interview series, but we finally have someone that I think all encompasses my interests in spring football in particular. It is Jalen Morton, quarterback of the Southwest Kansas Storm, former QB, also for the Birmingham Stallions, joining us. Jalen, glad to have you on. I'll be honest, wasn't how I expected to have you on, but hey, I am all for arena discussion, and man, you're like the perfect subject for this show.
Well, question is, how did you expect to have me on?
Oh, well, I was looking to have you on during the UFL season because I saw you were heading over, and I thought you were done playing for Southwest Kansas for a little bit, wondering how that was going to be with Gary. But yeah, no, it looks like he's still around. Honestly, can you take us through those 6 days of limbo? I know some of it's roster movement, but I'm just fascinated by it.
I mean, I was headed back to Texas on a bye week for the Arena League. And got a call maybe, 4 hours into the trip, 7-hour trip, 4 hours in, got a call. Did you want to, come play for, a team that I previously was on, as you said. So it was one of those things, well, why not? I got an opportunity. I'm on a bye week, headed back to Texas where the headquarters for the UFL are. And why not? See if I can get on the field and and play in the UFL again. So,
Why not?
I mean,
And
that's that. So.
yeah, I mean, why not? Like, it's for the season that the Stallions had in particular. I mean, they could have used anybody with any help, and you being with Skip, in previous years in 23, that definitely has to be something that he was looking for, especially with all the chaos with the injuries with that roster.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy, ain't it?
Definitely crazy. 6 quarterbacks in that type of league, it's just an injury bug, and nobody wishes nobody any harm for any reason. Just very unfortunate. So I was just fortunate to be in a position to go over there and help out the best that I could.
Without a doubt. Now I got to ask you here. So I know that you played a little bit of CFL, but Arena's got. It's funny because Arena's kind of, to me, you get a little bit of those aspects with kind of the high motion and whatnot in there. Maybe even a little more so with the indoor game than Arena game. But take us through kind of your first year with kind of adapting to this. There's football principles obviously, but it's not pure outdoor football. There's definitely a difference to this game.
Oh, no doubt. It's definitely a difference. And the difference is, of course, everybody knows the field. I definitely called it a smaller CFL only because the waggle, and being in the CFL and understanding the waggle, understanding the high motions and whatnot and what you can do with it, that helped. I think that helped me go into this Arena League. And be more comfortable in understanding of what's going on and how you see everything, because the CFL is fast as well. Arena game is fast as well. So, they kind of correlate, but don't really correlate. It's just how you look at it. And so, why not look at it like a smaller CFL? And, it's the same thing. You got to put footballs in windows to where it's just like, in the CFL, you throw from the far hash, and that field safety can go get it. You do the same thing here. That backside safety or corner can go get it. So it's about the same thing. Yeah.
I don't think it's talked about enough. It's what's funny because that's how I've equated it. The more I've watched, it's like, oh yeah, you can definitely. And it's surprising because if you look at all the IFL in particular, one of the most common guys I see leagues I see them go up to is the Canadian Football League. And I think, oh yeah, that just correlates DBs and receivers. They're already doing the waggle, as they call it in the CFL, or the high motion as we call it here in the States. So, the 1-to-1, it just seems like that doesn't get talked about enough. Do you feel the same way?
No, I definitely feel the same way. It's a very unique thing. It's something that I think, I don't know about the IFL, but I know Arena and this AF1 league that it's the quarterback's job to do the motion and make sure the motion's on time and make sure the snap's on time. In the CFL, it's the receiver. It's the receiver the whole way. So it just really depends on what team you're on and how that goes about.
Coaching with two great coaches you've had, I think, in the last 3 years. Gary Thomas is one of my favorites in this league, and I consistently continue to be impressed with what he does. And when I talked with him this offseason, really liked his thoughts on the game. And then Skip Holtz. I mean, what else can I say about it? 3-time spring football champ, probably to some one of not the greatest in this alternative scene to ever win outdoor championships. Maybe describe some differences between the two you've noticed, or just your experiences with either one.
I say the differences between Skip and Gary. Gary's a little bit more chilled, and then Skip. Skip is of course older. He's been in different places. So as Gary, I take nothing away from any of them because they're both really great coaches. They both know what they're doing, and they both like the things that they like, and that's what you have to get accustomed to as a quarterback. And going in each of their systems, one coach is harder than the other, as you've seen, but as you've seen, one coach is harder than the other, and I don't necessarily look at it coaching harder, if that makes sense, because don't get me wrong, behind the scenes, Gary, yeah, he's getting on me. He's getting on me.
He just doesn't show it on the field.
Yeah, he doesn't really, yeah. So, but the times he does show it on the field, that's what y'all see. But other times, like, it's me and him and we're doing, but, of course, Skip has his moments as well to where he's going to get on to you. But it's just, with both of them, it's the little things that matter. And they're very detailed individuals in every aspect. And so if you're a quarterback that can't get aligned with that, then it's going to be hard to you be in that offense. And so I feel like the difference is just age, if that helps.
Well, yeah, maybe a little bit, but I'm glad you look. As a Gary, he for some of the stuff you guys have gone through, especially the last few weeks. Definitely seems to I think keep a cooler head. But which, speaking of the last few weeks, if I say Salina Liberty, you say to me what?
Hurt. That's what I am. Hurt.
Oh. I mean, that's fair.
You say Salina Liberty, I just say, just competition. That's all it is. And they're a good ball club, and they did what they did, but at the same time we did what we did. But end of the day, we're both still in the playoffs. We both still got opportunities. And, the team I'm rooting for is the team I'm on. So
oh, yeah. I hope you're not rooting for anyone else.
Yeah, right.
Not pulling a Pete Rose or anything.
Nah,
please?
not at all. Not at all. Not at all. Nah.
I didn't think
I'm gonna
so,
give my 100% regardless.
Oh, of course. I'll say on the field, you definitely, I think that's what's impressed a lot of people in this space, which the crowd in this space, it's very, I think, much more knitted and tighter than even UFL, which is kind of crazy to say. But we've seen you play. The passing ability's been there since the start of the season. The run ability, I think, is what's impressed people the most. How do you feel you were already kind of a mobile QB in college anyway with Prairie A&M. This league feels like in many ways it's encapsulates what's great for running QBs. And the IFL I've always seen a lot but even Arena feels like you're taking advantage even with that jack linebacker that can track you around the field very well.
Yeah, it's one of those things to where you just have to understand your abilities, and I know my abilities, and I know what I'm capable of, and I've always known that. For even like you said in college, that's something that I've done, something that I've always accepted, and just knowing who I am and what I can do, and just understanding with this game, and even like for example in the CFL game, everything is angles, even in the NFL, everything is angles. UFL, everything is angles, and you just got to understand angles at the point of time, and just understand things might be moving fast, but if you get there at this point, or you get at this this timing and precision or anticipation, everything will work out for you.
Mm-hmm. You're playing along some of the best in the league, in the business right now. You've gotten to play alongside the likes or against the likes of like Sam Castronova over in Albany. Tyler Culk has been doing great in Japan and is coming over here and has done really well. I can say plenty about Malik Henry coming in and what his capabilities are. Have you chopped it up with any of these guys on maybe you were needing a little bit to catch up to speed on this game, or maybe some stuff you didn't know about this game? Maybe you talked to one of these QBs. Who have you talked to kind of help assist in any way?
I've talked to nobody.
No? All right.
Nobody.
That's fine.
It's one of those things to where, end of the day, I got a mechanical engineering degree. I learn on the fly and I learn fast. So they can give, info, and I would love to, but I would love to, get info from them. But at the same time too, in the NFL, Aaron Rodgers is not, finna just give, any info just like that. So, so you can be better than him. And like Joe Flacco said with Shadur Sanders, he's like, I'm not a babysitter.
Yeah.
He's going, if you stick around, you'll learn. And it's one of those things to where like I said, I learn fast. I learn quick, and I learn in a short span of time. So, just give me the offense, and I understand defense as well, and we can go from there. So
Mechanical engineering degree. I'm curious. What's not that I'm saying football's over anytime soon, but where are you looking at, say, post football now with that?
Post football with mechanical engineering, I feel like it would be just a hobby for me.
Okay.
And I say that, yeah, it would be a hobby. I want to convert some older cars to electrical cars and go from there and just build some cars from scratch and, make my own house and just, things like that to where, they're unique to me. And like I said, just a hobby. I want to be, that wealthy, that rich, that successful to where like, that's a hobby for me. And that's, whether it's retail, whether it's, real estate, retail, whether it's, investments and in stocks or whatever, just going from there and, just having those things. And when you, meet wealthy, rich people, that's kind of certain things that they talk about of, a financial freedom. But other than that, travel, travel. So that's what I want to do post football, get paid to travel. So, and clothing, designs, fashion, all of that. So,
dang, love the ambition. I definitely can't wait to see what you do there. Still glad you're playing here. Hell, hey, ELF might be calling, too. You think about it that way.
You never know.
Plenty of opportunities these days with football, but we got a playoff game for you coming up here. As we talked a bit of the hardships against Salina, did not lock in a home game, so you're going to be going on the road to Nashville. They just announced they're playing at F&M Arena in Clarksville, which if you saw any of the film from last week, they packed the building out. It's going to be a little rowdy and ruckus. What are your thoughts? You played this Nashville team with Kolka and company, this kind of more, I think, second half of the season team compared to your first half, like beginning of the year squad. What did you take away from the last time you two played?
I mean, they're the same team in my eyes. They're going to do what they're going to do, and they're going to be who they're going to be. At the end of the day, we play Salina 3 times. We playing them 3 times. They're going to be who they're going to be, and we're going to do what we got to do. I mean, there's nothing more to say other than we're going to their house this time, and hey, it's a road trip, and the end goal is to be 1-0 at the end of the day. So.
With a crowd that's going to be probably stacked up as well, so again, same team we're talking here, so not much there. I think a little bit more rowdy atmosphere this time. You two are playing, or I think is going to happen based on if we're going to say how the Clarksville communities come out for this team. Sure. How are you putting up? Are there any mental blocks or things you keep up with, like crowd interactions? Because it's a different ball game with this when you're right on top of you compared to, say, guys are back a little bit in the stands in the outdoor game.
Not at all. Yeah, it's an enclosure, and it's different. But I mean, same time too, when you have 60,000 people in the stands, or 80,000 people, 100,000 people in the stands, or whether it's NFL, CFL, a college, university, noise is going to be noise. But for me personally, as a quarterback, and I know, other quarterbacks can speak for this as well. Like, we don't really hear the noise. It doesn't really register. So, after the play, you might hear something a little bit, but not really hearing it during or while the play. Like, so that's just me personally.
Well, Jalen, I can't wait to see you play this weekend on hopefully your journey to the 2025 Arena Crown, which, by the way, guys, if you want to catch him playing, you can watch that game on Vice TV. That's going to be at 5:30 Eastern Time, 2:30 Pacific. And they'll be playing in Clarksville, Tennessee, playing on the Nashville Cats, part of the 2025 AF1 playoffs. Also, the day before, Saturday the 21st, you can watch his rival Salina. They'll be going to Albany to take on the Firebirds for those contests. Jalen, glad to have you on. Glad to talk with you today, and best of luck. Hope to see you get into the crown and maybe walk away with the crown in your first year in arena football.
Yes, sir. I definitely appreciate you. Thank you for having me, and we'll be speaking again soon.
Hey, special thanks once again to quarterback Jalen Morton for stopping by. And look, Stefan, I'm really happy to see his journey as been with the Storm in this light as being like one of the premier now arena players, and he's also, really interesting guy, mechanical engineering degree, and has a lot of, I talked after the show with him, has a lot of stuff he has visions and thoughts of what he wants to do with his future with or without football. So, hats off to him. His journey has been fun, and he's also been CFL, like we talked. He's AF1, has seen the NFL system in the first few years he was out of college. And I mean, sky's the limit for the guy. I'm curious where he goes, because like I could see him, with that UFL connection, getting a call back up, maybe with getting some more tape on there. He's a mobile guy, really solid arm. Yeah, I mean, possibilities are endless, and he's got a championship to fight for, Stefan. That's the thing he's got to focus on right now.
Well, I mean, again, this is what I was talking about before. For all those Stallions fans that have the itch, I mean, it feels like you found your team already. And so these games are this weekend. Mm-hmm. They're pretty easy to find. We'll probably give you some details there. But, one thing that I really appreciate, you mentioned he had a mechanical engineering degree, and that probably explains a little bit why he's so good on the field, because engineers think differently. They see things, it's all about that field vision, really in any sport, court vision, I guess, in basketball. But engineers, they think beyond the problem, right? And they're thinking kind of 3 steps into it. And to where, to me, it actually makes sense to see a quarterback plus have that kind of profession behind the scenes. Plus, I mean, he's got a pretty solid career to fall back on whenever he's tired of playing football. Just lucky that he hasn't gotten tired of it yet. At least hopefully until the end of this weekend and the weekend after. But we have some games lined up, Zach, and I'm going to let you be the arbiter of like explaining some of the rules for some of the folks, maybe some of the differences here.
Sure. But
Saturday, we have our first game, 7 p.m. Eastern on Evergreen. Free, by the way. I always say if it's free, it's me. Head over to Evergreen. They have an app you can get on your Android device, your Roku device. You can pull it up on your computer, your phone, you name it. I think you do have to sign up for an account, but it's free.
Yeah.
Game kicks off 7 p.m. Eastern. We have the Albany Firebirds and the Salina Liberty. Did I say it right, Zach?
You did say it right.
Oh, good. Sign me up. People always get mad when I say Regina about Canada, and I don't want to say the real name because I feel like I'm saying a bad word.
Oh, it's okay. It's just Regina. It's no big
deal. Yeah, here we go. We're going to get censored on YouTube for that one. But yeah, first game up, we got the Firebirds and the Liberty. Now, I don't watch AF1 as much as I might watch the UFL, but New York, upstate New York, Albany, from what I understand, they're usually, and from what I see, they're usually a playoff-ready team.
Yeah.
They had a little bit of a stutter a few years ago with Antonio Brown. Different team, guys. For anybody that's like, oh, that upstate New York team, I don't know about them. Different team. But they're taking on the Liberty. This is on Evergreen. Break it down for me, Zachy boy. What am I supposed to be looking for here?
Well, I would say look for what the Salina Liberty are going to do at quarterback, because one thing that has been very prominent in their run to the playoffs is they've had to lean on their old veteran and former championship QB in Javin Kilgo, who has not been their starter this year. Rakeem Cato, former Marshall quarterback and also arena veteran in many other spaces, he was signed on later in the year to kind of replace Kilgo at the start because Javin Kilgo had a terrible start to this season. Cato comes in, helps rally the team to several wins to get them to where they could even qualify for a playoff opportunity, but they had to beat the Storm twice in their own building and in Southwest Kansas, which is Dodge City. And sure enough, not only did they do it twice, come from behind victories in both games, and Javin Kilgo had to come in relief duty to lead come from behind victories. It is a very special team that's come in and also has given the Firebirds a run for their money. Now, Albany's undefeated going into the playoffs, but Salina is one of the few teams this year that has kept it close and has had a shot to get a win. Can they do it with Javin Kilgo? That's the question. Now, if you want to feel like doing picks, be my guest here, Stefan. But
I'm curious who you're picking now.
I'll be honest with you. It's in the capital region. It's a rowdy, very raucous crowd out there. Those guys, it's a fun atmosphere. I've been to a championship game when they were in the NAL. Those people are great. They support the team hardcore. I got to go with the Firebirds here out of just sure safekeeping here. But if Javin Kilgo is back, which Kilgo is a good veteran, it's just he was terrible the beginning of the season and really did not look at all himself from his championship days. Looked a little overwhelmed from the level of competition personally. If he shows up in any way, this will be a barn burner. I just trust that Albany roster. Sam Castronova, by the way, if any of you know that name, that's a guy who's been in this space that I've been dying to see go to the UFL. He is one of the best, if not the best 50-yard quarterback in any of the league levels. It's either to me now or never that he gets a look. He is that good, and I hope to God that he goes to one of these camps this year and some team picks him up. He is stellar, and they have a loaded roster on both sides of the ball. It's basically an all-star team, but I think it'll be a fun game. Salina's kept up with them. They have a really great defense on the other side and some good weapons in the passing game in likes of, say, Tracy Brooks or Malik Honeycutt. Should be a fun one to kick things off for the playoffs, even though it's a 1-4 matchup. And it'll lead into an exciting Sunday night affair over in Clarksville, Tennessee, with the Nashville Cats hosting the Storm. And that's
so I'll say this real quick.
Yeah.
Just because I learned my lesson over this past weekend for not rooting for the underdog. And this is me knowing nothing other than the few games I've watched. I'm going Salina all day. I got the name right. I got it down. Because I'm watching this game. I'll be dropping some tweets. There are some things I'm looking for. I want a puke delay. So if anybody out there, sign them up. I'm sure the people at the league are like, shut up, ref, shut up, ref, shut up, ref. What are you talking about?
That's hilarious you referenced that. I almost forgot about the puke delay.
It's like a top 5 AF1 moment for me, man. It's that, or if we can get where the ball gets stuck in the thing again, like in the crossbar. Mm-hmm. Dude, that was like first week of the season, early season, I believe. I was like, oh my God, you don't see that in football every day. You gotta love it.
But I'll tell you, before we go in the second matchup, this is a great time to kind of go over some things. If you are say you're watching this league, or say you're watching our show, you've never watched Arena before. This is the perfect time to do it. These are the best teams in the cream of the crop, and the rules are so freaking fun. So he's mentioning the crossbar. So the nets and the rebounding structure. Basically, there's these big square netted, like crisscrossing iron or aluminum, as I know. They used to be made of steel bars. And the way it's structured is the ball bounces off when they kick off, and you're supposed to recover off the net. But the bars can screw up the ball. So, as you said, it can get stuck in the net, in the bar, and it'd be a touchback. It can bounce off the bar, and that ball's live. If it gets recovered on by the kicking team, they can score, or they can start another drive immediately. And you can score points on those kickoffs with what is called the deuce. 2 points if you kick off and you make a field goal between the nets from the kickoff. It's a big game-changing play in a game that is so much more important on possessions, I think, than even any outdoor game could be. And yeah, that's only one aspect of it. 8 players also on each side, too. Keep that in mind.
You know where else the ball is live? We saw it this weekend, Zachy boy, when we were driving. It's live on the wall. We saw, what was that, a pick in the end zone?
Yes.
Because the ball tipped and bounced and landed on the wall, and the guy just, boom, that's mine now. You got to love that,
and
dude.
That's a super fun rule. Like, if you're say you're a smart arena player or something like that. So yeah, if the ball lands on top, or if it bounces off the side and doesn't hit the ground from a pass, you can pick it off or catch it. And there are really good receivers in this league that take advantage of that. Honestly, yeah. Freddie McGee, by the way, who is with the Liberty, he's the one who caught off the wall. He's one of the best arena DBs in the game. Absolutely smart arena guy. Another one that's not in on any team, but I wish was playing if he had a chance, Darius Prince. Man, he is really good at understanding the rules and is a super expert at catching off the walls or on the pads. But that's just another aspect. It's a completely different ball game. It's always fast-paced, nonstop, and the possessions matter so much more. You're expected to score every possession. If you get a defensive stop, it just means that much more in this game. So definitely check it out. And I think that game in Albany is great. To me, my game of the week of the two is definitely the Sunday night game, though. I'm going to be honest with you. These two have fought tooth and nail against each other all year, with the Storm taking on the Cats in Clarksville, Tennessee at the F&M Arena, just north of Nashville. But what's gotten me is the Storm, as we kind of hinted at, they put themselves in this position. We were watching this game on our road back from summer stock. And they had lost to Salina 2 weeks prior in a come-from-behind fashion. Here they are, leading by double digits again on the road this time in Salina, and we watched the same thing. They slip away, and they lost the lead on really just some poor execution, dumb luck, and I think to me, not a good strategy with a certain rule set, because as you now know, Stefan, if you're leading the game in arena football, you have to get yards positive to keep the clock running under a minute. Under 1 minute is traditional timing rules, and that means the clock stops whether it is an incomplete pass or, in this sense, if you can't get positive yardage on a down. So it's a huge implication if it's a 1 or 2 possession game. And Salina took advantage of both of these games. This one in particular. That's why they won. They have a good kicker as well. And the Storm are going to have to pay for that against the Cats, who have one of my favorite nicknames in the game, Mr. Kolkamania himself, Tyler Kolka, behind center, who's been lighting it up as well for Nashville since he's joined in on the fray. That'll be fireworks. That's my game of the week. You got an MVP QB in Southwest Kansas coming over to play not only one of the better structured rosters that's built over the season, but an old school legend in Darren Arbett, who's coaching on the opposite side.
Well, and you also have some big name tie-ins to this game as well, because correct me if I'm wrong, John Gruden earlier this year joined the Nashville Cats ownership group.
Yes, sir.
I mean, that alone, again, not being, knowing the ins and outs of the game, to me, I would love to see Nashville win just based on that alone, because it's hey, Gruden, look, you bought in to not only a playoff-ready team, a championship team. Whether you win that game or not, you definitely have something to build on for next season, which will be his first full season as part of that ownership group. But to me, the Nashville Cats we look back last year when the Cats came back and there was a lot of noise around the Nashville Cats. And so to see that team now in the AF1, to see where everything's heading now, I just want to see them build upon that. They have a pretty good fan base from what I understand. But I have also seen some of these Storm games, and they seem to hold up well as well. But as you mentioned, Zach, it's that time management. It seems like it's in their incentive in that position to run the ball. And from what we saw, they weren't running the ball on every possession when they could have gotten some yards, ran out some clock, moved on to the next play. It's a 2-point lead. You want some more points. It is what it is. But once you throw it and it doesn't get down the field, you're stopping the clock.
Yeah.
You lost it down. That's more time that other team has to capitalize. And, well, you see how that goes. And I'm hoping Nashville picks them apart. I hope they claw at them a little bit, tear them up. I don't know. That's my uneducated pick, Nashville. Nashville is from Tennessee. They have no state income tax, and I reward that as well as a Texan with no state income tax.
Oh man, collecting the checks and cash them in the bank for the crown.
That's right.
I will actually flip. I'm going to go with Southwest Kansas, and I'm going to go with the things of. I think they're going to have a chip on their shoulder. Personally, they lost 2 straight games that were very winnable, just couldn't close the deal. And I don't think that this is going to go that way where they get a little too comfortable and kind of, maybe don't take advantage of having that kind of buffer. Don't keep the gas pedal down, so to speak. I think you're going to have to in this one. Nashville is really good in the passing game. They also have a really solid rush attack on the ground. And I think Jalen Morton's going to have to be basically his MVP self, what I've seen all year, and have to carry the reins and carry this team to a crown meetup, likely to me against Albany. Although if your scenario plays out, by the way, Stefan, it would be hosted in Dodge City, as the crown is going to be played at the highest seeded team of the 2 championship teams. So does have implications, by the way, if that were to play out and an upset were to happen in the capital region, so to speak. But yeah, I'm going to go with the Storm, and then I'm going to actually reserve our conversation on the championship until next week, because we're on the ride, and I think this will be something we might try out as the year goes on. There's other great leagues out there. We talk about them once in a while, but I think it's a perfect time. Off season, there's still games going on. Let's talk about that a little bit, what we see. And I think that's the thing. This is a great league. I love arena football. I always tell you, if the UFL didn't exist, I would be just all arena football all the time. And I still do a ton of arena football stuff on the side. This will be a fun weekend. And the crown matchup is going to have two stellar opponents where we're going to set up for one hell of a conclusion to their inaugural year being AF1.
I know we're going to talk about the championship next week, but let me just throw one question in there. Is there a literal crown?
Don't know. I don't know. And I'm actually pretty...
Zach, you need to get on the phone with whoever you need to get on the phone with and say, if there's not a crown, you better get a flipping crown. I don't care if it's a Burger King crown. Well, actually, you probably, with the memes nowadays, you probably don't want the Burger King crown. But you get a crown.
I don't know if there is, but you would think if they're naming it that they're going to make it that way.
I want a crown.
Seems logical.
I know somebody's got to be listening. I want a crown. Before we leave this conversation, so the second game's on Vice TV. If you don't have Vice TV, I want to call out, you can find this game on Friendly TV, streaming service, which 1 week free trial.
Yeah.
They have a 1 week free trial, a 7-day free trial. So if you want to watch the game and you don't want to spend a lot of money or any money, you can do it that way. And even the subscription was $7 a month, Zach. It's pretty cheap. So, hey, if you like Hallmark movies, that's how you do it. Your wife's like, honey, why are you spending more money? Say, shut up. We got the Hallmark channel. You're set.
I think, too, and I'm not 100% confirmed on the championship broadcaster, though I'm pretty sure it's this. If you do that, you should be covered, by the way, for the championship. Because my understanding is, I think it's, they haven't said themselves, but my understanding is the championship will also be on Vice TV. So nice. If you do kick that off on Sunday, because remember, the Saturday game's free. You don't need anything. You just need to go on Evergreen Now, which you can find on any Android, iOS, Roku, and Amazon Fire. It's all on the big ones. You can go on there, download it, log in. You got the game right away for Albany. The Nashville game, you go on there, 7-day free trial on Sunday. That'll last through both those games. So if you pick up a trial, you got the whole playoff slate for free. Mm-hmm. Keep that in mind, which, by the way, that's not just me saying that. No, I mean, we watched the NAL championship game, but the IFL one's not. You're going to have to pay for that either way. So...
Well, and that NAL game was like one, they have it unlisted on their YouTube channel, which is just comical in itself.
I still can't believe we had to go and hunt that down. And the fact we jumped for hoops, we thought, oh, we need an antenna. And then it's like, oh, it is there. Oh, we got to go and hunt it in a playlist, unlisted. It's not on their main page, which their main page got deleted this year.
Oh, honestly, so I saw a tweet today and I almost got Centelled. Whoever runs the arena football Centel one said that they were going to shut down the league because the Omaha guy. And I was like, huh? I was like, oh, okay.
Okay. I'm laughing at that because I have a little chat with some buddies of mine that we were in the community, in the arena community like that. And we kind of talked and that got sent to me and we did a little digging. That account hasn't been used in I think 2 years. And all of a sudden it comes on and you're seeing tweets. We were like, this is their owner. Their owner definitely picked up.
Oh my God, they responded to it.
Yeah. Yeah. They responded. Yeah. We think their owner got on and basically got so frustrated that he wrote up 2 paragraphs worth of a response between a reply and a quote tweet to a fake account.
Sign him up,
Hilarious.
Dude. That's so good. Yeah, so the tweet in question was Arena Football Centel. Crazy. The Omaha Beef will be folding the entire NAL after their NAL championship game loss. Reasons cited for this decisions include embarrassment and sadness. And then the Omaha Beef responds. That's the craziest and most ridiculous thing I've ever seen or heard. I could tell. Oh my God, they got baited. That's hilarious. Yeah. Sign them up.
Watch out for the Centel accounts, guys. You never know what you're gonna get.
I tip my hat to whoever sent this Centel one is. I love it. I mean,
I don't know who it is, but they clearly know how to get the uproar. That's hilarious.
That is too flipping good. I'm so glad because I didn't know that the beef had. I just saw this morning, and then I didn't know that they responded to it. Oh my goodness!
My God, only in arena, people. You only get that in arena football.
Another reason to tune in.
Well, check that out by this weekend. Again, Saturday, 7:00 Eastern time for the Albany Salina game. Sunday, 5:30 Eastern time for Southwest Kansas taking on Nashville on Vice TV. The other one is on Evergreen for the Saturday game. So, yeah, have a good time with that. And we'll be talking about that next week, at least about the championship. Hopefully another interview, by the way, because shout out to the AF1 for helping us set up the Jalen Morton interview. So we'll keep you in touch with how that goes and see who else we chat with next week. But until then, anything else you got? I mean, it's kind of weird. We're in off-season mode, man. We're into some talks about the future, what's coming around the bend once again.
Yep. It's all part of the fun. It's we'll probably be having a lot more speculation zone episodes as we head deeper into the off season, but at least now we have a little bit of football to talk about. I'm sure once the NFL season comes around, I'll be doing a little bit more trash talking about those dirty low-down Bears and their poaching techniques down there. And I might do some trash talking on behalf of my Lions, but they got to earn it first. I don't know why. That's the way, I go all in on my Roughnecks, but the Lions, I don't know what it is. It's 40 plus years of them breaking my heart time and time again. They got to earn it. Even we got that playoff win a couple of years ago. We didn't get it last year. And I don't know. That's about it. I'm looking forward to it. And hopefully work doesn't beat the life out of me before the next UFL season starts because they're doing their best.
Post vacation, as I'm finishing recording, I'm with you right there. I'm about to go and get back in the cycle and yay.
Good luck, brother.
It's okay. We'll work through it together, my friend. We got a whole summer to mess around with this stuff. Maybe a maximum football session's in order soon. So I don't know. There's other things we're talking about behind the scenes too. So stick with us. But yeah, again, if you haven't subscribed, if you're new to this, again, if you've been interested about the UFL after the championship game, or hell, maybe if you're looking up AF1 and you stumble on us from our talk and you're wanting to follow more football, hey, sign you on up as we say. Click the bell and click the subscribe button. The bell builds morale for us, and you also keep connected anytime we talk in the offseason or going into next year. So you don't want to miss that, whether it's us with the USFL podcast or even us again on ATU, because we're over there with James Larson and the other crew of Ducky, Jake, you name it. Nick Thorne maybe shows up as well too. It's his championship stuff, or he shows up and James doesn't show up because that happened last week. So you never know what happens on that show. But yeah, until then, he's the ref. I'm Zach. Catch you on the next episode. Next week, we will be back for whatever else comes out, signings, AFL Crown stuff, you name it. It's the UFL podcast. See you for episode 109 next week.